Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship. My name is Mitch Replies Anderson, and I'm joined, interesting, not by Max today, by Josh Kana instead. A little bit of impromptu broadcast today, not our normal scheduled match, but we have got the third and fourth placed playoffs here for the third best team in this state coming at you guys today.
Yeah, the first it's going to be a best of three between the Rochedale Rhinos against the Hillbrook Hellcats. Mitch, how are you feeling about these two teams? Obviously, they made it to the semis, and now they get a chance to fight for third place.
Yeah, of course, two good seeds that could definitely be in our grand final tomorrow at 4:30. Was going to be live here on this same Twitch channel. But yeah, so both these sides are, obviously top four teams. They're both very, very strong, and we should be looking at a high quality best of three guys today. Both of them played very well. Unfortunately, lost to Indrapilli and McGregor respectively, and that's going to be our two final opponents tomorrow. But again, these two sides have still got a lot to show, a lot to play for, and playing for third place in the state is still a huge honor.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I actually just like being able to sit down and compete, because every game, no matter what, you're always going to learn something from it. You'll learn more. You can strategize, improve. It doesn't matter if you're not winning the whole thing. You're cementing your place, as you said. And I am really, really trying to think of how I want to see these two teams play it out for, obviously, the marbles and being third place.
Exactly. And before we get into the rest of our broadcast, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Legion by Lenovo for sponsoring us today. Legion by Lenovo is a premier gaming brand that is perfect for both work and play. With stylish and minimalistic designs that fit in with any environment, if you're battling out on the Rift, hitting the books, or in the boardroom, Legion by Lenovo is perfect for you. Lenovo is excited to partner with high school esports in 2020 and supports the opportunities that young players get through esports and being able to develop sporting careers that's not on an oval or court. Lenovo wants to provide technology to all peoples and wants to help all students have the opportunity to play and get involved in the esports community. Legion is proud to help support the students of Queensland to compete for their schools and achieve greatness. We thank Legion by Lenovo for supporting the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship, and it's a fantastic initiative to get on board with all of us here at the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship team.
Absolutely. And I say it every time I'm here. I am so jealous that I didn't have something like this when I was in high school, and I know how you feel about it. So definitely a good opportunity, and obviously thanks to my Lenovo for it. So
especially how slick the new laptops are that's coming out by Lenovo. It just looks so good. And if I didn't just upgrade a laptop for uni, I'd definitely be looking at getting one of these Legion laptops for myself. But a little bit more about our two teams today. Starting off on the blue side for game one, I believe we do have Rochedale Rhinos playing in that role. We have sshoirrao up in the top side, Madflyer in the jungle, HeroicFeet in the mid lane, Name Change Man in the AD carry, and Jhin's in support. Third week in a row, we've seen Rochedale on stream, and these guys are looking really, really good. And there's some slight improvements they could make. Unfortunately, they have gone down 2-0 last week. But, a very exciting side, and I think they'll be taking it here to Hillbrook Hellcats.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to respond to maybe something that they've learned in the last couple of since their last week match against. I don't know which team they versed actually. Unfortunately, was it Indrapilli? I still can't say that name.
Rochedale versed McGregor last week.
Right. So I really want to see what they've learned from versing McGregor and taking it into this match against the Hillbrook Hellcats.
And this is actually the first meeting of these two sides in the tournament, which is very surprising, given it's a third versus fourth playoff. Mainly due to Hillbrook's being kind of a surprise packet. We kind of had this big four leading the tournament all the way through, and Hillbrook upset probably the leaders there in, I believe it was the Mansfield Minotaurs to come through and get into the semi-final. So two very good teams, I think. Of course, these players we've seen a couple of weeks in a row now. We know HeroicFeet is fantastic on mid-lane champions like Cassiopeia, Zoe, Syndra, these kind of controlling mages. Jhin's is a Nami one-trick who, when he gets that Nami, is so strong. Name Change Man plays a fantastic Jinx. And we have a very strong core identity what Rochedale does as a team. Their one biggest weakness is they kind of struggle a little bit with team fighting. And you really saw that come to play the last two times you saw them play versus the Redeemers and McGregor. They were able to come out on top of the matchup against the Redeemers, but did go down to McGregor just due to the fact that when they had these team fighting compositions, they just weren't executing correctly, and they were kind of struggling in the 2v2 matchup. And throughout those team fights, really struggling to communicate and work together. So hopefully today, having 2 weeks to shore up those issues, look at those game films, can come into this game and play really, really well coming into the third place match.
Yeah. So what do you feel that the Hillbrook Hellcats can take to this after losing their match? What do you think were the things that they needed to improve on that you saw in their match? How do you want them to do? Like, obviously, we see the players now. We see WarningThump, Ryan Overpower, RNL DeStRoYNuBs, DoomGoat, and SukiSukiLOL. Do you think there's any straight weakness in this Hillbrook comp?
Well, Hillbrook Hellcats is the one side I haven't actually seen a single game of, except I saw him versus McGregor, which is way back in week 5, I believe, or week 4. So a long time since I've seen these guys play. And back then I didn't have the same team, and they were beaten quite handily by McGregor. That's when the first time I saw McGregor on stream. They pulled out a Malphite mid and they kind of dominated. So I haven't seen them in a long time. The one thing I will say about them, I've seen them submitting a lot of highlight clips to our Legion by Lenovo Savage Player of the Week. And going throughout their mass histories and seeing them play, I know RNL DeStRoYNuBs is a very very good Azir player. And quite a good mid laner as well. And I think for HeroicFeet, who has kind of been a point of weakness over the past few weeks for Rochedale, it could definitely be an area where they attack, because their other main player, I think Ryan Overpower in the jungle there, has been playing very well, practicing all of these new champions, plays Fiddlesticks, Olaf, and to quite a decent level. So I think they have a very nice mid-jungle synergy, and you can see a lot of action around there since Ryan Overpower is primarily a mid-lane main, so understands the role quite well. And I think his combination with RNL DeStRoYNuBs is probably where Hillbrook's main power come from. Their bot lane as well, SukiSukiLOL and DoomGoat, obviously work quite well together too. And, to get this final tournament and upset probably the tournament favourites in the Mansfield Minotaurs in the quarterfinals was quite an effort from their side. And just looking on paper versus these two teams, and maybe since I've seen Rochedale so much, it's one of those, I don't know what's wrong with Hillbrook. I don't know where they've gone wrong, but it's very clear where the weakness lies there for Rochedale. And so I'm potentially leaning towards Hillbrook taking this game, just because I don't know where their weaknesses are. They could have very similar weaknesses and strengths, but overall, I think RNL DeStRoYNuBs in this mid lane is going to be the key player for this matchup, and I think him versus HeroicFeet is where a lot of the action is going to take place.
Okay, and I'm really happy that you reminded me and everyone else about how they've been submitting clips for the Player of the Week, because I remember going through those clips and seeing these guys, and I was so disappointed that I hadn't had a chance to cast them yet. And now I actually get what I want, and I'm so happy I can finally get this chance, and we get to watch it. I wonder how far away that first game is now, because I am actually excited. Like, I'm a little bit shaky now. The blood is flowing, replays.
Yeah, getting excited for this match, and we should be jumping into Champion Select very, very shortly. I think some of the key points for this draft is, I think if RNL DeStRoYNuBs gets his Azir, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Rochedale to take it to this Hillbrook side. I think Rochedale, if they haven't improved on their team fighting, in particular, they need to go for stronger independent lanes. And they need to play a little bit more towards, that mid and bot lane and really get them ahead. The problem is, being such an AD carry-centric team on the side of Rochedale, it's very important that you are able to team fight, because that's one of the ways that AD carry has an influence over the game. If you're playing an AD carry-centric style, you are going to be focusing towards those more team fight-oriented compositions and drafts. So you look at, for example, Doublelift, a very famous player who only plays on teams that are AD carry-focused, and those teams are always geared towards that team fight style. And if you can't activate it effectively, it's very difficult to transition and get a win unless you get massively ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we've seen it time and time again. Like, no matter what your win condition is, if you can't take your carries there, if they can't, put in the work themselves, mechanically outplay your opponent, sit back, stay out of range, and just keep ordering them down, or spell rotations like a Vega. If you blow your combo on the wrong person, you're not going to really achieve anything. You've got to make sure you're everything that you can do, or else really the game's just really not going to be in your favor at all. Like, look, I'd be shocked if I don't see if DeStRoYNuBs gets the Azir, because that would be one of the things you'd obviously want to ban away against someone like that, who is very proficient on a single champion or a couple champions. Yeah. That will overall drastically weaken their ability to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. And, I'm very excited to get how they go into draft. I think a key matchup today, surprising, I think Jhin versus SukiSukiLOL in that support role is going to be a very interesting matchup, because I think they've both been kind of very exemplary supports throughout the tournament. SukiSukiLOL, very proficient on the Nami and Karma, and those are very similar champions to what Jhin's champion pool actually is. So seeing those two go together is going to be a very interesting matchup down in the bot lane.
We actually have a substitute replays. We have TNS subbing for Rochedale.
Yeah, so I mean, this could be interesting too. Right? There's a new player we haven't seen. So, I mean, I was looking forward to Jhin versus SukiSukiLOL. I think they were both quite competent support players, and I think both the AD carries. Although DoomGoat is off role, he's still plat 4, so he's still quite a good player. Primarily a jungle main, so a little bit different style of play for him. But again, I think the bot lane matchup is still going to be very influential because Name Change Man is probably one of the core carries here for Rochedale. Was able to get a pentakill in their last streamed game. So again, very close between those two down in the bot lane. And I think their champion pools are quite complementary as well. I think DoomGoat plays like Kai'Sa, Philios, champions like that, where Name Change Man is leaning towards Jinx, Ezreal, or maybe Misfortune. We saw him pull out. Didn't look too great on that Misfortune, but we'll have to see exactly how that goes. We are now into pick ban.
Ooh, so finally into this first round of the pick ban, we see these champions like the Ezreal getting taken away, obviously trying to DeStRoYNuBs is actually in the AD carry position, but I don't think we're actually in role order, so I don't think that really matters. So I'm a little bit confused by these bans. I'm maybe already seeing that it looks like Hillbrook doesn't want to let HeroicFeet get like the Yasuo or anything like that. Because
yeah, I mean, they could be looking to ban that out. Malphite was played by sshoirrao in their previous game into quite effective degrees. Interesting to see them. They're targeting the AD carry pool here with two AD carry bans straight away. Given the fact that, assuming DoomGoat goes to AD carry, he's going to be off role in that position.
Yeah, I suppose so. Now, Syndra getting banned. She's actually she's a menace in the mid lane right now, isn't she? Like, she's got such good rotation, her spell rotation and speed on with decent cooldown is quite high. She does a lot of damage, and obviously the unleashed power of a press R to win button.
Yeah, exactly. Syndra's such a strong laner, able to control the lane really, really effectively. And of course here gets taken away from HeroicFeet, probably his best champion outside of maybe the Cassiopeia, which is available. So hopefully he goes for that. I saw him at the one game I've seen him play where he's played really, really well was on that Syndra pick in particular. And we'll have to see exactly how they pick out the rest of their composition here for Rochedale.
I'm actually really happy seeing an Ornn hover. No, it's getting changed into a Riven last second. No. But, maybe they pick Ornn in response to it. Like that, I could see this lane working, Ornn into Riven.
Yeah, I'm actually quite glad here that Rochedale didn't pick up the Ornn. sshoirrao in their last series played Ornn and missed every single Ornn ultimate. Looked really, really uncomfortable on the champion. Didn't look like he knew what to do or how to play it. And Riven is definitely a champion when you see it looked and have some big question marks. But again, if it's something he's very comfortable on, can perform well on, then I think comfort is much more important than meta, given the fact that McGregor were probably our favorites for the matchup tomorrow. It's all about that. They play stuff like Akali mid and what else did they play the other day? They played like Trundle jungle or something. You know what I mean? So they're playing these picks that they're not particularly they're not really the best possible picks, but because they're so comfortable on it, they're just destroying everyone else and just playing so competently.
Can I say what I'm feeling right now? I'm looking at this Hillbrook comp, and I see an Ornn, I see a Morgana. I'm wondering what this third pick is going to be. But I'm already starting to be able to see how they want to play their team fights. And I can already see how everything is going to start unfolding. Obviously, we need to see a few more pieces of the puzzle before we'll know how things come out.
I mean, I'd like to see the
thing from Rochedale.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see the Exia get knocked in here. Unfortunately, they're going to go for the Vayne, but I think if you pair up your Exia, you've got a fantastic team fight core there. You've got the Morgana, Ornn, and Exia, all fantastic AoE team fight ultimates. Morgana provides fantastic peel for her backline. I think this Jinx is going to benefit from that incredibly, and I think the Twitch here is an interesting pick, given the fact that HeroicFeet plays a lot of Twitch jungle, mind you. So you might not be on that pick in particular, but again, Twitch has been something that's been banned out against Rochedale time and time again. So allowing it to come through now, and they might have to reshuffle their lineup. The fact that they've locked in this Twitch, but it'd be interesting to see how they pull off this champion, because Twitch is something we haven't seen very often, but is very strong if it gets into the later phases of the game. And the Trundle here on Madflyer is something I have a bit of a question mark about too. Madflyer played Kha'Zix and looked very comfortable, but I believe the game before that he played either the Trundle or the Amumu and looked, again, very uncomfortable. And so one thing I would have to stress for Rochedale is pick something you're comfortable at, pick the champions you know how to play, because that's the way you're going to perform best and perform the most comfortably if you're playing those champions.
Yeah, certainly. There is some degree of, you obviously want to play what's meta at least to some point, right? You don't want to be pulling out, I don't know, Dr. Mundo top anymore. That's season 3, that's strategy right there. But, there's always the whole, if you're really comfortable in it, you can make anything work. So I feel like as long as there's a nice balance, and then you'll end up, no matter what, you'll always be in a good place. You'll always have the opportunity to do well in any meta with your champions.
Yeah, exactly, right. Being able to have that flexibility and ability to play a multitude of different champions, but being within the strongest picks gives you a certain edge, and there are reasons why pro players pick certain champions because they are just stronger. But again, at this level, when you're not performing at the min-max level of performance, it's going to be a little bit more interesting. And I think, given that Jarvan 4 is locked in, I think we're going to see some swap Oriannas from the roles we were given. Since a lot of these champions, a lot of these players are one-tricks in a certain role or a certain style of champion or play, and I think a lot of their one-tricks have been let through. So I think we're going to see some swap Oriannas initially from both these sides here.
Yeah, well, you were mentioning it, that you saw the, no. Well, I was about to say I didn't see the Cassio, but I had covered part of my screen. I couldn't see the Cassio ban, unfortunately. Oh, well. But, let's see what the last pick here from Hillbrook is.
Looks like it's going to be a Twitch mid, interestingly enough, here from HeroicFeet.
Oh my!
Which is something I don't think I've ever seen a Twitch mid before.
Wait, could that be a Twitch jungle with, say, Trundle top, Riven mid? That could
potentially be what they're going for, I suppose. Actually, I will expect HeroicFeet to be parting this Twitch. It is by far his most played. He has a 76% win rate on that champion this season, which is quite impressive. And I believe that DoomGoat is going to go into the jungle instead of Ryan Overpower, who has got his Vel'Koz. DoomGoat got the Jarvan 4. He's pretty much one trick, the only champion he plays. And it looks like RNL DeStRoYNuBs are going to swap to that 80 carry. So a little bit different to the lineups we were given initially. And I think a second sub here for Rochedale with dynamic Alfred in that 80 carry role instead of name change man. So interesting about how these two new players go for Rochedale in this bot lane. But I mean, if you look at these two comps, I can see one comp that works and one comp that on paper doesn't.
And from what I think you're looking at, if you agree with me, you're with me in how you feel like the Hillbrook comp is just so much more like conducive to just synergize team fights and working out properly. Because look at how squishy this Rochedale side is. They got a Jhin, they got a Twitch. Like they've got a little bit of tankiness in the Riven, but there's a whole lot of peel and crowd control for Hillbrook here.
Yeah, precisely. I think Hillbrook have got a really well put together team composition. The one weakness you could maybe say is something like the Vel'Koz and Vayne, which are not particularly great hyper carries. But I don't think Rochedale have a very effective way to get on top of the Vel'Koz outside of the Nautilus ultimate. But again, they're playing very long range. They've got 280 carries. They're full AD. It's going to be very heavily reliant on SukiSukiLOL on this Riven here to really pull it off and play quite well. If he's quite effective on this Riven pick and is playing really, really well, then I think there's potential there for the Riven to come through and carry. And I think for the Rochedale comp to work, I don't think, obviously on paper, it's a great comp, but they've gone for comfort, which I like. I think that's the kind of change they needed. They needed to get away from that team fight style and opt more towards this definitely more facilitating style where they are playing what they enjoy to play and what champions they're comfortable on and can play the best. So I think I'm very excited to see how Rochedale go on the champions that they are comfortable on. And I'm a little bit nervous as well for them too, since the champions don't necessarily synergize well. And I think being full AD, it's quite easy to optimize your builds against the armor, given the fact that there are, the Ornn and the Jarvan on that side who are going to be very, very tanky the later this game goes. And DoomGoat's got his one trick, Ryan Overpower, a very competent player. And I think it's going to be that mid-jungle duo. I think HeroicFeet and Madflyer are going to be in for a long game here if DoomGoat gets rolling on this Jarvan.
Yeah. Can I ask you what you think of the one optimization for this Hillbrook lineup is, and tell me if you agree with my thought process here. I feel like the team fight, like the compatibility with the Vayne is very low with the rest of their lineup. This is where I would have considered a little bit more meta in the Misfortune being picked up. Maybe it's not a comfortable champion, but that just seems to scream out a Misfortune comp to me.
Yeah, Misfortune or Aphelios, very similar AoE kind of team fight, 80 carries. I don't think the Vayne's bad either, but I think into the enemy team, the Vayne is going to have a hard time against this Riven. I think he's going to have a hard time against the Trundle, and again against both these ranged 80 carries that outrange her. So I think she's going to kind of struggle to get into the team fights. Given that, though, there is so much crowd control and ability to peel for this Vayne. Morgana, I'd say probably one of the best peeling supports you can possibly pick. I think there's nothing else that's much better than Morgana. Given the fact she got the Black Shield, the Root, and of course her ultimate too. If anything gets, as long as the Morgana stays next to the Vayne, it's going to be very difficult to get on top of this 80 carry. And the later this game goes, it's that insurance that in a late game, he's going to be doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, certainly. I'm just looking at this and I feel I definitely have to give Hillbrook the edge here. We've given them time and time again in the sense that they've got this much nicer, maybe synergistic team comp. I still just feel like just champion-wise, that all those champions are just a better place, barring the Vayne.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not super upset with the Vayne. I think the Vayne's still quite a decent pick, but yeah, their comp just works so much better together. It's a big wombo comp. Jarvan goes in, lands a Cataclysm. Ornn follows up with the Call of the Forge God, lands a multiple man unlock up, but they're all still stuck in that cage. Vel'Koz pops his ultimate over on top of them too and just shreds them through with all that true damage. And I think we're going to see some big wombo combos coming out of Hillbrook if Rochedale misposition and don't fight correctly. If they ever fight in a choke, I think it's almost over for them. Vel'Koz is so strong in that choke point, being able to land his knock up and of course lay down the void terrain too. So very difficult to play around this Vel'Koz. And you know, it could get very messy if Rochedale take the wrong fights. But if sshoirrao here on this Riven gets ahead, HeroicFeet on his comfortable Twitch can start the ball rolling, I think we could maybe see Rochedale, you know, start snowballing ahead and kind of win this game with really, really strong fed carries, even though their comp doesn't really work together when they're trying to work as a cohesive unit.
Yeah, and I think we're getting pretty close now. So I believe I just heard some game sound, so I think we should be getting in just a second, guys.
Yeah, we should be jumping just into this game, and I think, you know, obviously this is such a huge matchup. Playing for the third place in the state, these two teams want to show that, you know, they should have been in that grand final, and winning this is a big step towards saying, look, if the team I lost 2 wins, I was the second best team in Queens, and I can make a claim for that.
I like it. I like that logic. So, looks like we may see a bit of a cheesy invade here from Hillbrook. They may opt to try to get a first blood, and they are kind of grouping around us 5.
Yeah, I mean, they are going to look towards this River jungle here, but Rochedale on the other side have just spread out and played a lot more securely. And I think they've played a lot more safely here and just tried to kind of startle the rest of this game and wait a little bit before they're getting into it.
Yeah, I think they know about the issues of their team comp here. I feel like they know if they give Hillbrook an inch, Hillbrook is going to take a mile.
And you can see now it is Twitch mid, which I think is very, very interesting, especially into something like the Vel'Koz, which has enough range to actually, you know, beat the 80 carry in lane versus something melee like maybe, you know, Diana, Akali, these kind of champions. An 80 carry in lane is quite effective because you're able to bully and poke them out. But against something that has a little bit more range and a bit more aggressive play, it could be a little bit more difficult for the Twitch to succeed in that mid lane role. However, given that, I think the roams from Twitch could be quite good. Obviously, the Q are able to give him that ability to sneak away and get into stealth and you know, avoid some of the stealth wards there. So as you can see, is unseen by Rhino Overpower.
That's a little bit of cheese there. He gets a slight advantage in that trade. Probably about 50, 60 health in his favor. So I guess worth it, right?
I mean, but that's the kind of things you have to go for when you pick these off meta, or especially like, I'm not so much off meta. Like off meta, I think something like a Z mid is off meta.
Oh,
this is more like completely different as all know. This could be very bad if DoomGoat lands an effective gank with that red buff available.
For the moment, he's still just sitting around. I don't know if Twitch knows about him yet.
This is very bad from DoomGoat, wasting a lot of time sitting there.
Yeah, and not only wasting a lot of time, his mid lane is losing a lot of health as well. Massively chunked out. Twitch still has the Ignite, but here comes Jarvan. DoomGoat on his way down. Vel'Koz a little bit too far back to try to help out, so I think that Twitch will just be able to walk away and be okay.
Yeah, Twitch, you can see that poke coming in from Ryan Overpower. He's fallen for that same move twice now, so should know not to fall for it once again. And I do like the optimal... Oh, here we go. HeroicFeet for a level 2 roam.
Oh my god. Yeah, HeroicFeet has come down. That's a 3v2 in the bot lane. Vayne drops the exhaust. Morgana gets stuck in the middle of 3 enemies and she can't get away. First blood, unfortunately, goes over TNS. But that is going to be really good for Rochedale for now.
Yeah, and a flash as well out of the 80 carry. I mean, she's going to be liable for a gank next time. Interesting, she opted for exhaust on the Vayne too, not the heal. Instead, obviously, it wouldn't have kept SukiSukiLOL alive in that situation, but very strong there from that Hillbrook lineup. And this HeroicFeet's Twitch in the mid lane could be just what they needed to kind of turn their game fortune around. Just playing on that comfort, playing on the champions they know how to play and they like to play. And you can already see it paying dividends. Just hopefully they keep up this tempo and keep getting very small advantages against Hillbrook, because if they start falling behind or even going even, the Hillbrook team comp as a whole will do so much better.
This is unfortunate. Really nice gank here by DoomGoat. The Flag and Drag doesn't really do much, but Nautilus is stuck, and I think he'll end up going down. Hopefully the Vayne will be able to get the kill. Arson DeStRoYNuBs will secure that first one. And you know what? Getting that Vayne 300 extra gold is going to be really helpful.
Yeah, especially since RNL DeStRoYNuBs did not go down in that first gank, but has no flash, has no exhaust, is very susceptible if HeroicFeet is going to go for another roam on this Twitch. sshoirrao also up on the top side, farming up quite well. Obviously, should be expected to beat the Ornn, but again, got to be very careful. Trundle is around, and I think sshoirrao on this Riven has to kind of get going, and they should invest a little bit of time into her in her lane, because if she gets quite fed, she's going to really negate this Vayne in the team fights, and cause a lot of headaches for the rest of the red team.
Yeah, certainly. I'm talking about headaches. HeroicFeet is turning back onto DoomGoat here. Chunking again, a little bit chunked up, but oh my god, Trundle was there to help back him up. I thought that Heroic was kind of caught out and just trying to waste some time, but no, he had some help from his jungler. And oh my god, no, DoomGoat has forced a Flag and Drag over to get away.
Yeah, exactly. Being able to get away there from that gank was quite effective there. The flash being unavailable now on HeroicFeet means he could be a little bit more susceptible next time Jarvan comes around. And that was actually really good work there from Madflyer to move into their jungle and assist. Know his mid lane is strong and can come and help him. And SukiSukiLOL is now roamed up to this mid lane. It could be a little bit dangerous if Madflyer doesn't back off.
Uh-oh, this is really bad for sshoirrao. Gets flashed in by Ornn. One more here. Unfortunately, Ornn has no mana. There's no Bella's Breath that can come out. Unfortunately, the pillar doesn't send him back in the right direction. And it looks like they're forcing a flash out of DoomGoat there by HeroicFeet. Definitely, he has got those happy feet. He is all over the map right now, replays.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you want out of your mid laner, being able to roam around and really influence the map. I don't think Twitch would be, the pick expected to do that. But again, being able to influence the map and just change these lanes without really losing much CS in your own lane, I think it's very effective how well HeroicFeet's been able to do this so far in the early game. And I think, surprisingly, the Twitch mid is working to the first 5 minutes of this game.
Yeah, we will have to see if it continues working for the next 5. But, I actually thought in this matchup that Vel'Koz would be able to shove Twitch in and be the one who rotates more. So obviously Twitch can get those sneaky roams with the invisibility. But I kind of thought he'd be the one losing out on farming and XP for it.
Yeah, I mean, especially early on in the game, right? It's a little bit harder to push a wave as a mage. The Vel'Koz, they won't have that early wave clear, is very mana reliant. So, of course, we'll get shoved in early on, given the fact that Twitch has those auto attacks available. But a good early pickup here for Hillbrook. Grabbing that Mountain Dragon means they're going to start working towards that Soul win condition. The next dragon is an Infernal, so they're going to get a Cloud or Ocean Soul, both very effective for their team comp. And both these teams actually are going to want these Drakes, so I could see a lot of fights around them a little bit later into this game. Yeah,
true. And looking at this, how do you see the next couple of minutes unfolding? I would obviously love to see one of the teams go for a Herald as soon as it spawns. Like Rochedale has a pretty nice Herald clear comp, but they've got the Trundle, they've got the Twitch, they've got the Riven. Hillbrook have got an okay one as well. Oh wow, wait, HeroicFeet. He is definitely getting some cheese there. Riven dropped a broken blade. They're trying to take down WarningThump, and yes, down he will go. This mid lane Twitch is essentially the jungler for Rochedale right now. Madflyer hasn't been around, so HeroicFeet is taken up. He's going up in the world. He's taken that jungle role away from the Trundle.
Yeah, I mean, that's very well played there from HeroicFeet. Also doesn't miss any farm, so fantastic roaming overall on this Twitch. Also use the spray and pray up in the top side to get a kill onto the Ornn. And as I said, you need to get this Riven starting to snowball, and HeroicFeet doing very well to go up and focus towards that lane. Although punishing an Ornn is quite difficult. The fact that you can get her a little bit ahead and hopefully she can start getting some solo kills or putting a lot more pressure on this Ornn, not let him farm up, not let him get to his items, and make him become a little bit useless. But very well played there by HeroicFeet. Another successful gank 2 for 2 so far, and is still doing very well in this mid lane, keeping up in farm on Ryan Overpower, who hasn't influenced the map too much. Of course, his role comes into the game later, and I do still worry for Hillbrook. Despite this explosive early game, is once we get into those mid game fights, how are they going to deal with the Ornn Jarvan combo? How are they going to deal with this ultimate coming out of the Vel'Koz that's going to just shred through the rest of their team's HP? They need to make sure they're getting to these items fast, and I think, hopefully, if they can get to 2 items on this Riven, grab her a Death's Dance before this first team fight occurs, I think Rochedale could be in a prime position to turn away their team fight losing streak and take some fights against Hillbrook here.
They do definitely have a potentially very good pick comp, as we've seen, like with HeroicFeet, get that nice little sneaky roams and get a little bit of a pick. Maybe someone on Hillbrook stands a little bit too far out, and turns it into a 5v4 for the remainder of the team fight. So I feel like that is definitely the Rochedale win comp here.
Yeah, I mean, making sure, Rochedale's win comp is definitely. I mean, it's more just like you can't have to get fed and gonna get ahead because you're not going to beat him in the 5v5s, and even in the split push, they could definitely be contested. I think in the side lanes though is where they're going to win this game. The problem is Twitch and Jhin, aren't particularly great alternate side laners, so I think it's going to be more of a 1-4 comp. I mean, HeroicFeet can definitely do a job in the side lane on this Twitch, having that Q to be able to sneak away from anyone who comes to try and take him down is definitely something that is handy. However, I think the Riven in the side lane is going to be the key factor. And sshoirrao is really
a bit of a flash coming out of SukiSukiLOL there. That was a little bit aggressive. Like that was really aggressive. I'm talking about aggressive. Here comes sshoirrao, and he's stuck in the middle of the lane. However, the curtain call, big knock up by the call of a Forge good as well. Down goes sshoirrao. Now the rest of Hillbrook are chasing down Rochedale, and that's just unfortunate for TS. As WarningThump gets a little bit of a kill, and that is a quick turnaround for Hillbrook there.
And then you can see the issues that Hillbrook tend to turn into. Once they get ahead, they start playing a little bit too over-aggressive. They went for a big play. You can see the team fight synergy there from Hillbrook, able to land the land.
Oh my goodness, that binding line. That may end up going down. Dynamic Alfred, that makes a dynamic exit back to the fountain.
Yeah, that's really bad there for the Rochedale side. Dynamic Alfred being taken down by the enemy team. DoomGoat maybe called out here.
Yeah, definitely getting caught out there. Really nice dredge line there, but can he get flag and drag over the wall? He'll move to the blast cone to try to get away. So he does manage to get away from that, although forced to get a little bit more scared than he needed to.
Yeah, I mean, a very risky play there from, of course, the Jarvan 4 there. But looking to get some good vision in is smart, of course. J4 trying to get in and involved in HeroicFeet.
Oh, no, this is just unfair replays. However, does get knocked up a little low mana, but here comes Trundle as well. Will he drop a pillar? Yes, he will in the middle. Flash over by Vel'Koz. Pops a blast cone, and it looks like he'll be able to get away.
Yeah, good job there from Run of how to escape that gank, but does burn the flash, which means, again, it's going to be a little bit more susceptible next time they come around. But, again, that little play by Hillbrook has put him up in kills despite HeroicFeet roaming around. And I can definitely see a little bit of worry for the Rochedale side. Just the fact that Hillbrook's teamfight was able to pull back a kill. They played a little bit too aggressive. DeStRoYNuBs 2-0-2 on this Vayne. Has already started scaling. And once a Vayne gets very fed and ahead, it's quite difficult to manage her and kind of stay on top in the contest. So Rochedale are going to be very careful that they can keep getting these picks. They really need to make sure they keep picking out Hillbrook. But if they ever get in a fight that's more than even 3-on-3, I just don't think they win, given the fact that the champions just don't work together, and Hillbrook has so much wombo combo in their team position.
Yeah, as I was talking about in chat, it just looks like it's got that easy, perfect execution, and I think the only one about to be executed right now is Madflyer, forced to flash away from the Cataclysm walls. And oh my goodness, here it comes. DeStRoYNuBs trying to chase down Dynamic Alfred, once again forcing the flash out. Here comes the curtain call. He's unleashing his shots. Unfortunately, the first couple of minutes now, he's trying to take down SukiSukiLOL. Getting really low, but look who's coming down as well. DoomGoat is pretty close. They may opt for a dive here on this next wave. Actually, no, they won't. Wow.
Yeah, resetting here, very smart by the Rochedale lineup. Dynamic Alfred doing very well, 94 CS in 11 minutes is near perfect. And, I mean, he is a Platinum 1 player, so maybe an upgrade over Name Change Man in that bot lane role. And looks quite good on this Jhin, even though it did go down there to that kind of play towards the Morgana and DeStRoYNuBs. But the second dragon here goes over to Hillbrook, and Rochedale now have got to make sure this next dragon, they're going to be looking to contest around it. And I think it's very, very good for Hillbrook that they're getting these objectives early, because the later this game goes, the more contested the dragons are going to be. And I really think Rochedale's only chance to have a go at these neutral objectives were when they were able to pick off these enemy champions. And if both teams are grouped around an objective, it's going to be so difficult for Rochedale to ever win and have that objective control.
Yeah, particularly with like the damage that can come out from this Rochedale side. But right now we have, I think, Ornn being called out here. Yeah, WarningThump, unfortunately, I don't think you get away. You may end up being able to get a kill if that broken shard hit, but Brittle procs, 1 kill goes down, sshoirrao falls. And that is a definite regret there for that gank coming out. Oh.
Yeah, Ornn winning really that 2v1 is terrible here for Rochedale. Well played, but
no. Oh, no. That's a really... J4 doesn't have the charisma. He's gone and he's forced to flash away because he flag and dragged in. But here comes Heroic. Does he get the poison damage to finish him off? He's so low. We can see his icon. It's a sliver. But he will survive.
Yeah, we'll just survive HeroicFeet going for the flash too, but couldn't land that last auto, unfortunately, onto DoomGoat. That would have been another kill going over to this Twitch. And I mean, if Twitch keeps getting rolling, it's getting very disastrous. But I just don't think Rochedale are far enough ahead. I mean, they're not ahead at all, right? They're 700 gold down, and they've gone for this more aggressive comp that relies on them to be ahead. So I think the further and further we get into the mid game, I think it's going to get very messy. And I think Hillbrook going to take this game out quite explosively in this teamfight phase.
Yeah, I can see that, especially as like the game gets later and later on. Like obviously those Ornn items, what's it called? The ornaments?
Yep.
I still love that name. It's such a good name. I never quite realized it had a name like that. I'm just like, when someone told me, my mind was just like blown entirely.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a nifty, clever name. Of course, the Forge Fire Cake looks like it will be the first one of those ornaments to be completed on WarningThump himself. Down in Spotlight, you can see them just farming out. I'll just throw up and farm, and here we go. Something here.
Well, Madflyer is here to help him out. DeStRoYNuBs trying his best to take down Dynamic Alfred. One more hit. Yes, he will. Turns it around, moving his target on to RNL DeStRoYNuBs. Down that one goes, unfortunately for him. Madflyer and TM trying their best to take down SukiSukiLOL, and yes, they'll be able to. And that pretty much evens up the gold difference this game.
Yeah, exactly 21.6k to both sides. However, 3 kills on this Vayne already finished that Blade of the Ruined King. She's going to be quite strong in this first team fight that we do end up having on all these sides come together. Jhin as well, you know, kind of building towards that Infinity Edge, but isn't quite there yet. And I think it could be quite disastrous. Hopefully Twitch can complete his Blade of the Ruined King too. However, doesn't have the same amount of gold this RNL DeStRoYNuBs has, since he's picked up so many kills in this bot lane where, you know, I really didn't think they'd be focusing towards. I thought with the Riven locked in, with the Twitch in the mid lane, you want to look towards getting these 2 picks further and further ahead because, you know, that's kind of enabling your win condition, but they focus towards the bot side, and Hillbrook has done very well in stopping the attempts from Rochedale to set them behind, and overall have come out in front, kind of turning around the counter ganks. You saw the TP that came down and got a couple kills onto RNL DeStRoYNuBs. WarningThump landing a massive wombo combo down there, and it was turned a 4v3 into a 3v2 into a 4v3, and you know, and came out with 3 kills overall in that extended play. And I think that's really like that play that kind of turned the tides of this game. And HeroicFeet could be caught in the mid lane. Yeah,
HeroicFeet, there's not much he can do about that. He can't play Happy Feet with that, with the Lifeform Disintegration Ray, unfortunately, and yeah, that's some good gold over to the Vel'Koz, who's definitely going to be happy picking up a little bit of gold to carry with.
Yeah, I mean, especially given the fact that's a bit of a preview of what's to come. The Cataclysm into that Lifeform Disintegration Ray is going to be dire if that's ever made onto the multiple members. That is such a large amount of damage, and true damage as well, that comes out of the Vel'Koz. Look at him just chunk Madflyer there with just one combo, activating that passive that allows you to just do so much true damage as that Void Eye, Intelligent Eye. I don't know what he actually is, right? But so difficult to deal with once he gets ahead. I mean, I was playing Clash last night against the Vel'Koz, and he just shredded through our team.
Oh, I missed Clash. Oh,
did you not play Clash yesterday?
I totally forgot about Clash. It's one of my things that I don't like missing. Damn it. But
yeah, I mean,
you know what?
I did last night's Clash was probably one of the worst Clashes I've done so far. We got the first game was like a 40-minute slog, but the problem was we just kept getting dove backlined by Wukong and Vel'Koz that just shredded our entire team. In the second game, a Kayn got 2 kills early on, was Assassin Kayn, and just ended up with like 32 kills or something. And so we just
so you did not have a good time, I hear.
It was the Clash last night, not a good time. It was not fun. It's the worst I've ever done in Clash, actually. Every other time I've come like at least like second or higher. So,
okay, well that's pretty good. Well, hopefully you learn from it. But right now we have the third dragon up, the first Ocean Drake, and it looks like Hillbrook are going to try to secure it themselves. Will there be a contest? Trundle is pretty close, but I don't think he'll be able to get in for a smite still. No, he won't. And that means that we're on soul point for Hillbrook here.
Yeah, it's 17 minutes in the game, soul point already on Hillbrook's side, especially the Ocean Dragon too, given the fact they've got this tanky team fight comp. I think Rochedale here are, very up against it, and they went for this more alternative comp, went for this comfort picks, and unfortunately it just hasn't worked for them. Hillbrook proved to be the better side, and Rochedale still not out of the contest completely, only 1,000 gold down, but the champions on Hillbrook's side, when they're even with what Rochedale has put together, I kind of see no way that Rochedale can contest these objectives, and I'd be really, really worried if you're a Rochedale fan right now.
Yeah, and not only that, it looks like they're going to lose one more member to the Lifeform Disintegration Ray, as Madflyer, unfortunately, will be the next one down.
Yeah, and TNS had to use the flash there to get over the wall. Up on the top side, sshoirrao still giving it a crack, but the Bramble Vest on Ornn means that Riven's not going to be doing any damage to him anymore. He's going to be one big tanky boy that nothing's going to be getting through. Stacking that armor against the full AD team, Ornn is going to be very hard to take down. But again, both these sides are kind of relaxing now, going more into a farming style. And I think Rochedale need to start making some aggressive plays because otherwise the Soul's going to go over to Hillbrook. And once the Soul goes over, I kind of think that's the game, as Hillbrook are just going to bleed out Rochedale.
Yeah, that's going to be the case. And you know what? With such an early Dragon Soul, I wouldn't be shocked to see Hillbrook, once they get that advantage, pushing it into like an Elder Dragon, like Baron, like double neutral objective, which would just ruin their lives. And I think right now, maybe nope, looks like both teams are going to sort of back out. I was really expecting like a Nordhook, like a cheesy, like, you know, flash in with like a Soul Shackles, but looks like both teams are kind of just waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the one thing I'm a little bit more worried about too, if I'm a Rochedale supporter, is the fact that you know, they're just not far ahead with this alternate team comp, and you know, they've gone for the comfort. That's generally what you go to when your back's against the wall. So you know, given the fact they've gone down in this game, it's going to be, or I mean, expected to go down in this game. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly what they adapt to, because you know, after losing this game, I suppose they have to go back to meta, have to go back to, you know, more relevant plays. But again, I think Hillbrook just look so much more comfortable today and are just playing as the better side. And I don't know if Rochedale will ever swap that up. We could maybe see them go for a play here on RNL DeStRoYNuBs and SukiSukiLOL.
Well, here it is. Down goes RNL DeStRoYNuBs, and he's ended up getting destroyed so far. Big stopwatch coming out of SukiSukiLOL. Curtain Call will finish him off. Big shot. 2 kills for nothing. It looks like they're going to keep pushing down that tower, most likely.
Yeah, and this is great to see from Rochedale, that bit of active play, getting the shutdown onto RNL DeStRoYNuBs. Really great play from all four of them to sit there, get the gank down, but
ooh, nice cataclysm onto Jhin, but a life-form disintegration ray will certainly help finish him off. Now here it comes, Ken DoomGoat, who's actually flashing away. He quickly hightailed that decision of going in out of there.
Yeah, I mean, that was very interesting again from both these sides. Just staying around a little bit too long once again from Rochedale, staying too low on those health bars. Fantastic punish though from DoomGoat and Ryan Overpower. You see that Vel'Koz Jarvan combo coming through and just dealing a ridiculous amount of damage, and sshoirrao not faring well against WarningThump up in this top side either.
Yeah, he is definitely not enjoying this. Like, look at this. Ornn has the, what is it, the Forge Fire cape coming out, yep. Pretty much. He's got it once he backs, I think, but you know, Ninja Tabis. Look at this Ninja Tabis on, what is it, 2 members so far of this Hillbrook side. I'm a little bit shocked to see that Vayne hasn't even opted for, like, Tabis at this point. Like, look, that's full AD. I'd consider it, even if I was, like, Vel'Koz.
I'd consider it, but I think Vel'Koz is playing safe enough that I don't think he's ever going to get hit by these AD carries. He's kind of far enough back, and I think the Magic Pen early on has really helped accelerate his gameplay. I also think Vayne hasn't, you know, really needed the tab, and I think the extra attack speed is probably worth a little bit more. However, she keeps getting poked out like this by HeroicFeet. She might opt to switch her boot choices up again, and I think, I mean, armor-wise, I feel like if the front line is strong enough, for Ornn and the J4 should be tanky enough to kind of dissuade Rochedale from ever getting towards this backline. And I think if they're executing correctly, Vel'Koz and Vayne aren't going to get touched in team fights.
Yeah, I just feel really hesitant because seeing that Vayne, I know like the weaknesses of having a Vayne, but no, it looks like they're just still testing the waters a little bit. Like those weaknesses of a Vayne, like obviously she's a short range AD carry, you can easily like stun lock her. But look at this, there's no real point and click CC on Rochedale at all.
Yeah, and the Ocean Soul is now up in 15 seconds, and Hillbrook have complete control over the area. I've seen the one biggest difference this game has been in wards. Hillbrook have had constant wards all over the map due to SukiSukiLOL or RNL DeStRoYNuBs. Fantastic tumble to get out of both those CC, but again, this dragon is up and available, and Hillbrook are probably in the position to control it, and Rochedale have got to move into a position to contest, but all 5 members from Hillbrook are already around this dragon on the bot side, and I think this could be a very messy fight that'll decide the game now.
Yeah. The only thing that's in Rochedale's favor is that DeStRoYNuBs is so low to start with. Flag and drag onto the Trundle, taking out the jungler straight away. Rochedale can't really contest anymore. But now Soul Shackles onto the Twitch. Look at this Vayne sitting in the backline. DeStRoYNuBs is living up to his name right now. There's a nice cataclysm by locking down by the Jhin onto the Jarvan. Damn, that is 4 for 1 on the side of Hillbrook, and they will look to secure the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, and I think with that Sol going down already, Hillbrook showed why their teamfight comp is so much more effective, and I think we'll have to be waiting for the next game to see exactly how well they're going to go, because, yeah, I think this game's pretty much wrapped up in Hillbrook's favor.
Ooh, I don't know, man. I have to agree with you, but part of me just wants to see the big turnarounds. Come on, like, see those masterful outplays that kind of like pull the game back in your favor. I just love the David v Goliath story. I can't help it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be fantastic if Rochedale come into this game, but I just can't see it. I just can't see it. You just saw how devastating that team fight was, and they weren't even able to pull it off fully correct. They're kind of like, oh, we need to engage here, and they did a bit of a hodgepodge, everything, everywhere, kind of engage, and it wasn't clear, it wasn't concise, it wasn't in a choke point like they wanted to, and they just dominated Rochedale and wiped them off the map.
Yeah. We're seeing those ornaments come up on the Hillbrook members. We see the Forge Fire Cape, obviously. We see the Luden's Pulse, I believe. But I think right now, HeroicFeet may be getting absolutely taken out. Stuck by a binding. Jarvan's going to help finish him off. Ryan Overpower gets a quick kill with, I believe it was the Technology Disruption that he got the kill with, but not entirely.
Yeah, and the pick comp getting picked off. Every single time a binding lands from SukiSukiLOL, you'll see instant follow-up by Ryan Overpower, DoomGoat, and RNL DeStRoYNuBs. And I think whoever hit by that dark binding will be going to death. Not even rename it to a Thresh Q, the death sentence coming out of SukiSukiLOL. The second that root lands, it's pretty much over.
You know, a lot of people just forget to auto-attack when they're like Morg-binded or Lux-binded, because it's just a root. They're not like stunned. So many people just don't do it. Like, I reckon if we watch carefully, someone gets hit by a Morg binding, and they'll stop doing whatever they were doing.
Maybe it's one of like the things that happens. Ability, stop casting everything you can, but just when you get locked down by one of these long-term roots, it's just so difficult to really do anything, and you feel like you're kind of stunned up when the rest of the team jumps on top of you. It's very difficult to kind of look around. Yeah,
very difficult like rationalize a plan and think clearly, because in that moment, what's going through your head, Replays? Like, what do you feel like when you get binded?
Oh god, I'm going to die. I'm a small Zoe in a big world, and there's a lot of big, strong team pooling other teams.
Oh my goodness! DeStRoYNuBs gets taken out. A quick trade will secure a trade of 280 carries.
But I mean, when you're the assassin there, the Twitch coming in to try to take out the Vayne, and she almost trades you back, and you need 3 people there to take her down, and she still trades one back, is not a very promising side if you're Rochedale here. The Baron has spawned, and it looks like that'll be the next objective Hillbrook look towards. There's still a lot of towers standing on the blue side, and there's still quite a bit of damage that needs to be done for Hillbrook to secure this game, but it's looking at dire circumstances here for Rochedale.
Yeah, certainly, and they would love to get some shutdown gold, especially what's on, WarningThump and
1,000 gold if you take down that Vel'Koz there and Ryan Overpower. It's a huge amount of gold available, but he's just playing so safe. He's already level 15 at 26 minutes into this game, completed his Leandri's Torment, and going for Morello's, which is an interesting combination going for both those items, of course, but looks so strong here on this Vel'Koz, and I'm so worried for the next teamfight that comes down. I honestly think, I don't think they can end the game, but, with this Baron buff is going to go a fair way towards doing that for the side of Hillbrook. Getting an Ocean Dragon sold this early on is devastating, and the Elder Dragon's up in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they wait a couple minutes, then try to, force a fight on one of them, get the big kills, get that 5-man ace, and then they'll be to clear what's left. But unfortunately, Nautilus gets caught out, and that could be Baron over towards Hillbrook Hellcats.
I mean, not that it's very even, but I think this is one of the most even, instant soul. They got a soul at 22 minutes, right? They got soul at 22 minutes or something like that. It's actually not that one-sided. Usually when you get 4 souls this, a dragon soul this early, the map's kind of in shreds. You're already at the inhibitor towers, but only the outer towers have gone down, and some of them only gone down recently. So although Rochedale is super far ahead, it is still 30. It's still kind of even. I mean, it's not even. Hillbrook are
I get what you're saying,
but they're not dominating them per se. They're just kind of getting picks and getting a lot of kills. But it's not as if Rochedale is stuck in their base clearing supers, which is what you'd usually expect when there's an instant for a Drake soul.
Yeah, and certainly now Baron goes over. They'll be able to push in the waves really well here. Maybe even rotate to Baron once it's up. No, sorry, Elder Dragon.
Yeah, Elder Dragon. I mean, I'm surprised they don't just pull the trigger and just go so much more aggressively. I think if they just group as 5 mid and just start running it, they can pretty much hit the Nexus straight up. I think with this Baron and with their abilities, they're all so high level at the moment and got so many items completed. You can see that Ornn's inventory is pretty much full, looking like he's going towards Randuin's Odin as the next item too. Is going to be taking literally 0 damage. I think with the Thornmails, he'll be doing more damage to the Twitch and Jhin than they'll be doing to him when they auto attack. So I think, honestly, if Hillbrook just group as 5 and just push down this mid lane, they'll just end the game.
I actually reckon they could as well. Like, they just need to get one team fight and the game basically ends, yeah?
Yeah, I think if they, with Baron buff and they're pushing down mid and they tried to make a defense at maybe like the inhibitor tower, they're just going to go down all 5 members of Rochedale, and I think Hillbrook will just walk through and take the game. Maybe they're looking for that Elder Dragon, but with this Baron, they've really done nothing with it so far. I mean, they've only had it for a minute or so, but again, they haven't really pushed anything in. They haven't taken these towers and flashed out of dynamic Alfred.
Well, someone else made a flash in a second, but this could actually be bad by the Hillbrook side. Twitch sitting in the backline, Call of the Forge got big knockbacks. There's some key ultimates still able to be used. Down goes DeStRoYNuBs. Can they turn this back around? They may have gotten a free kill for nothing, but they may get picked out as the rest of their team may come to help out. No.
That's a huge pickup there for Rochedale, taking out the 80 carry there from Orianna DeStRoYNuBs. And again, being in that side lane, just let them down. They just need to group as 5. Their team fight wins as a group. Rochedale is that we sneak around, we get picks. Our Riven's going to be strong in the side lane. Twitch is going to shadow, and he's going to pop up anywhere in the map and take you out if you're not with a buddy. You know, I think that's what it is. We need to go back to preschool and have the buddy system. You know, everyone, you think about you're all on your way to the bathroom and you need your bathroom buddy, or else you're going to get taken down.
Taken down, nice. I like that one. Now we might see Ornn get caught up, forced to flash over the wall. He still has a couple of... Oh my goodness, life form disintegration wave will finish him off. He tries to flash away, but no, he will not be able to get away. Now Vel'Koz is sitting in the backline, unleashing absolute hell on this Rochedale side. Look at that. So much damage, tectonic disruptions, void rifts. Oh, this is bad. They look like they're going to secure via Elder Drake here. They have so much zone control.
Yeah, I mean, they're just completely owning these areas, and Rochedale really has no way into them. They have no engage, no, champion that kind of controls zones who can fight and put pressure on any of the Hillbrook carries. You can see it just constantly going over the walls, and they've got Elder Drake, they've got the Baron, but the one thing I would have to criticize Hillbrook for is they're just not very aggressive. They're not playing, for it, as we see a fight erupting now.
No, they're certainly not, but Vayne, look at this, DeStRoYNuBs jumps in. Ryan overpowered, just absolutely unleashing hell. Cataclysm coming out from Jarvan to try to lock down what's left of this Trundle and this Riven. But I don't think any of them are going to be able to get away. Riven does hit a nice little jump over the wall, followed by the Jarvan, the life form disintegration way. Somehow Jarvan manages to get that kill. Not quite sure what got it, but I think that could be it. That's going to be the definite cracking open of the base here.
Yeah, I mean, as expected, Baron has worn off, but the Elder Dragon is still well and truly alive. I love the animation when you get an execute from the Elder Dragon. The big dragon just comes out and blasts that beam. It reminds me of like a dragon from Dragon Pulse from Pokemon. Fantastic move. It just looks so good. I just love the dragon popping up his phone.
Oh my goodness. Twitch does so much damage, almost taking out... Oh no, he does take DeStRoYNuBs out with a little bit of tower help. So he gets a little bit of extra KDA for his efforts, but unfortunately, game 1 goes over to Hillbrook Hellcats.
Yeah, and emphatic style too. I think that's one of the least stompy stomps I've ever seen. Hillbrook dominated them, but just played so kind of passively and controlled. And I think, honestly, if I have to look at that game, and even the fact they won in emphatic circumstances, I can see maybe their biggest weakness is the fact that they're not willing to pull a trigger. Then they don't know when they're ahead, and they're not very good at pushing a lead, because that was a very passive game, and they kind of just won because they got so far ahead of the enemy team and was so strong that they couldn't help but win. When I think probably even 10 minutes prior to that, they could have pulled the trigger, they could have gone equally as hard, and they just decided to play a little bit more passive and kind of wait until they were just so strong that they dominated the enemy team. Yeah,
I agree with you on that one. Who would you give your MVP to for that game, out of curiosity?
I think DoomGoat on the Jarvan 4 was the MVP. He had, I think, like 78, 83% KP. That game played really, really well. But it's very hard to give an MVP in a game like that when everyone does so well.
Yeah.
And no one was really a big playmaker either that game from either side. Of course, that is only game 1. We will be back for game 2, and I think Rochedale are going to have to do a lot of reassessment, but we'll get into that when we're previewing the second game. So make sure you guys stick around. We'll be back with game 2 of the high school. I don't know what to call this. Third place playoff?
Third place match.
Third place playoff between the Rochedale Rhinos and the Hillbrook Hellcats. Surprise, we're back 2 seconds early as these high schools are very eager to get into the final matchup of, or sorry, not the final matchup, the second game of this fantastic, potentially final game if Hillbrook are to take this out. Played a very fantastic game last time against Rochedale. Probably a little bit more cautious, more secure in their victory. Last game was, in fact, and I think a lot of adaptations here for Rochedale. I think make sure you need to ban this Jarvan 4 out. I think DoomGoat was way too strong in it. Make sure you're picking a comp that kind of works together, or not so much works together, but they played their very comforting picks and they just got kind of dominated. They need to make sure you still have options to win the game. You can't just draft yourself out of it. And I think you're going to be a little bit more active in that early game if you are going to play that more alternate orthodox style.
Yeah. You know what I've noticed? I've noticed so far that up until this point, up until that moment that Morgana got banned, we have had identical bans. Hillbrook don't feel like they need to change anything, and I don't know why they should. Do not fix what isn't broken. The only thing you guys have to fix is knowing when to get aggressive.
Yeah, I think a little bit more aggressive from Hillbrook to make the win even cleaner. I think they could have ended that last game in like 20 minutes. And it took them another 10 minutes because they just played that. Well, the way I describe it was they got to the point where they were so strong they couldn't help but win. They could have won the game probably 10 minutes earlier than what they did, but they waited until there was zero chance, which I like, obviously making sure 100%, but you can afford to be a little bit more aggressive, and I think maybe that's why they didn't make it to the grand final. And hopefully a lot of these players aren't year 12, hopefully they don't graduate and they can come back next year and give it a crack, because I think Hillbrook look very, very strong. One of the teams I haven't seen a lot of overall, and they do look really, really good. They look clean, controlled. The macro is a little bit lacking, and the aggressiveness is a little bit lacking. But overall, I think they know what to do. They play quite well, and if they could just fix that aggression, fix kind of pushing a lead and ending, I think that's the biggest thing. When they get a lead, they need to know how to push it and end. But other than that, they're looking extremely strong, and Rochedale are going to be really up against it to take this series to 3 games.
Yeah, and we'll good to see if Rochedale can pull it out, get the second win, and take it into the third match, where hopefully they can get the reverse sweep. Otherwise, they won't be able to win. Although I am looking at this and I am getting scared. What is Hillbrook doing right now? I see Fiddlesticks. I know he's been he's kind of funky recently, but isn't he really strong at the moment? I am getting worried, but I haven't quite seen what the new OP tank Fiddle is capable of.
Yeah, Fiddlesticks really strong. One of Ryan Overpower's main champions. He's been playing him multiple times throughout this series. Throughout this tournament. Able to grab a couple of kills. Able to grab a couple of. I think he got Lenovo Savage Player of the Week a couple of weeks ago. So I think he got the inaugural one, actually, the inaugural Legion by Lenovo Player of the Week by Ryan Overpower. So I'm expecting him to go into the jungle. So another role swap from Hillbrook. I really want to see DeStRoYNuBs Azir. I think that's something I've been looking forward to seeing. I've seen only clips and highlights of it, and I'd like to see it in its full. Twitch, again, locked in here. HeroicFeet, of course, playing that champion. The first game, I don't know if taking it mid, it was the best option. He definitely did well in the early game and got some of his side laners ahead. But I think playing a lot more aggressive here is going to be important. I think maybe even put HeroicFeet into the jungle on that Twitch, which was what he plays mainly in his solo queue games, and maybe put something like Madflyer into that mid lane, because as a jungler, he doesn't look super comfortable in that role, and if he's not on his Kha'Zix, he looks a little bit out of position and a little bit uncomfortable playing in that jungle role. Yeah.
What would you put someone who is uncomfortable in the mid lane, for example, on? Would you set them on something like Akali or maybe something extremely safe?
I mean, he's a support main, and he's got a fair few games on Pantheon. So I think Pantheon is quite a strong pick, quite a viable pick that you can take into something that's a little bit more maybe supportive. And they do have the counter pick here overall, and I hope they save it for their mid lane if that Twitch isn't going to go towards that lane. I think pick here your top laner, and then leave that Twitch as a potential flex into the mid lane, since obviously they brought it out in the game prior. So give DeStRoYNuBs, who I think is going to go into the mid lane this game, a little bit more to think about.
Ooh, the Orianna.
That's good too. I mean, Orianna is again very easy to play. Similar for a support main to take into that role. Not too mechanically difficult, but it does definitely have areas for mechanical max. I mean, is one of those champions that is played by a lot of support mains. If they're off role, they usually support mid, play Nami, Janna, Lulu, Orianna, as their support pool, as their champion pool. I like the Shen here actually.
So do I, and once again, I have to mention it. This Hillbrook lineup seems to synergize really well. Like
I think they need a
how the
support
story
diver here.
evolves.
Yeah, I think a support diver here in the mid lane is what they need. They've got a very strong dive comp. This is kind of reminiscent of the Galio Nocturne days when that comp was absolutely devastating. You had the Jhin in the back line that just opened up with the curtain call. The Nocturne, Galio, Shen all dived in. The Jarvan too, and it was just so oppressive. Also, the Jarvan Galio, that was the combo back in the day. Jarvan, Galio, Jhin. I think that was probably towards the end of Season 7, I think. Season 7 Worlds. Oh, sorry, Season 9, I think. Was really strong.
Mate, that's a big time difference.
Yeah, sorry, I keep getting confused. I continuously get confused. But yeah, that was a comp that we saw quite a bit at Season 9 Worlds. Oh, not Season 9 Worlds. Maybe it was Season 8 Worlds. What was the one that Cena went to semifinals?
Season 8, I think. That was when who was it casting? They said COC9 or COG1 when they lost. I think I know what you're on about. I think that was Season 8.
Yeah, it was Season 8 when Korea did real bad at Worlds.
Yeah, that one time it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that one time Korea did really bad at Worlds. Because then the year before it was SKT that. Oh no, it was the Samsung win in Season 7.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, just looking at this lineup, I did not expect the Akali, and I'm actually really glad that Rochedale didn't pull up something like for Pantheon, because look, it would have been a full AD lineup again, and I'm sure they know how that's going to look out. Obviously, there's Mordekaiser, but he doesn't exactly do...
I actually like Rochedale's comp a lot more this game. I think Mordekaiser is really strong up on the top side, is able to still provide that tanky front line. I think they are missing front line. I think they needed a tankier support, like TNS could have maybe taken the Nautilus once again. I think having no frontline for Twitch, Orianna, and Vayne is a bit of an issue, as well as that Orianna has no person to carry their ball in. So it's going to be a little bit weaker. I think maybe something like a Zac support, honestly, could have been fucking pretty good.
Yeah.
Zac support would have been really strong in that bot lane role. I think just another kind of diver, I think, is something you really need to take out.
Could you use for Twitch as a ball delivery service?
I suppose, yeah, you could stealth in. I mean, depends if... I don't know if the ball... Surely the ball stealths with the Twitch, right?
You'd think so, right?
Because it could be one of those
I assume if you're throwing it on him, if he's there, you'll see it fly onto him. So, like, a big loop around, you won't see it.
I know there was a bug probably halfway through last season where if Lulu had put the picks on a stealth character, the picks would show up. So there was a funny video of Evelyn walking around, like Evelyn who was stealth, and this little pix that was just on the map, so you could actually see where Evelyn was the whole time. I thought it was quite fun. I remember something like that had happened. It was a funny little visual bug. So I don't know how the Orianna ball works. If you know something similar like that, if the Orianna ball goes into stealth as well, or maybe it was Yumi. Maybe it was Yumi didn't go into stealth.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's right. There was like a little floaty cat just like following around this Evelyn that was just invisible, which is pretty funny to see. But yeah, you can see here the Hillbrook side. I mean, again, they've got this dive comp, but they haven't got the dive tool outside of that Fiddlesticks ultimate. So Ryan Overpower is going to have to be a crucial member here for Hillbrook in order for them to play super aggressively and get in on top of this Rochedale side. But I do like Rochedale's comp a lot more. I think HeroicFeet on this Twitch is prime for a good carry game. I think if they're going to go to the final game in this series and contest Hillbrook for that third place matchup, that HeroicFeet's going to have a huge game against his enemy jungler Ryan Overpower. DoomGoat played so exceptionally in that first game, and if Ryan Overpower can't match that tempo from DoomGoat, HeroicFeet could see an area here to carry this game. His Twitch was very well played, but I could think that Twitch jungle is kind of a little bit less impactful than Twitch mid, because I think Twitch mid is something that you never see, and I mean like never. It's the first time I've ever seen Twitch mid in my life.
Really?
Yeah. So the cheesiness coming out of Twitch mid is, when you see a Twitch jungle, you go, okay, he's going to start red buff. He's going to come and gank mid or top level 2 100%. He's going to use the stealth. So don't hit the wave, don't push first wave, kind of wait for it to come and just wait a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose. But at the same time, as every time I tell myself not to push up, I just push up. Like,
that's because you're an Aurelion Soul main and you've got no brain in lane. You just push. Freezing on A-Soul is viable now, okay? Remember this. Freezing on A-Soul is not terrible, okay? Because you're no longer a roaming god. You're a burst mage. You're a really bad burst mage.
I love that you just expressed all my inner hatred for the new Aurelion Soul, but you know what? A couple of seconds away.
I share that hatred. I miss my Space Dragon. I really
I
miss
do
my
too.
Space Dragon.
I remember trying to
you just build Roa and you just float around the map with your stars, just killing everybody. It was a great time. It was just nice. You just kind of chilling there. You just click, click, click. Oh, goodbye. Oh, goodbye. Oh, look at that. Oh, whoops! I just got a panda kill. My bad. You get the Rylai's Crystal Scepter and everyone just dies. It was so much fun.
Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to like one of those like highlight clips coming out of Ryan Overpower on that fiddle. I remember it was a couple of weeks ago when that Savage Play of the Week came up, and it was that Fiddlesticks dive like up on top side where he just ulted over that blue side like wall and just in that blue side lane. It was absolutely incredible. So I can't wait to see it again. I have really good memory. Apparently, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, such a great performance overall from Hillbrook in that previous game, and I think they are definitely looking primed and ready to take out this game, this series 2-0, and maybe a swap around here. Ornn or DeStRoYNuBs potentially going top lane. Surely not. I mean, interesting to see Akali starting items too, going for the Dark Seal straight up. I think Akali personally is a champion that I don't think is particularly strong. I think Akali in the mid lane, especially into something like an Orianna, could struggle a little bit, given the fact that Ori is going to outpush and outrange. Going for the barrier as well and phase rushes, I think it's going to be quite difficult for Akali to get a kill. I really think that last nerf is super impactful, simply because the ultimate now has to be targeted, and I think that's a huge loss for Akali. That was what made her such a strong laner, because she had this kind of basically a second flash, right, available on the champion. But you know, now that it's targeted, it means you have to click on a champion, which makes it a little bit more difficult to actually aim or get ready to assassinate. You can't control the dash range either, so you know, when you're lining up your second arm, waiting for that time in between, if they move around, you have to be you know, making sure you're still in range. So again, this Akali is going to struggle a little bit with that matchup, I think, in the mid lane. And if Ori plays it correctly, it could be a bit different. But interesting to see the Twitch actually starting at the blue buff, not going for that red as the first buff, which you know, is usually quite impactful for his early ganks.
I have a feeling that's because upon seeing the Akali up on top side, maybe HeroicFeet is looking at going on for that top side gank early on, based on how SukiSukiLOL pushes up on the top side. But it looks like he's pushing in by the looks of it.
I really hope sshoirrao here on this Mordekaiser is something that we haven't touched on. Mordekaiser, a really, really strong champion, kind of dominates solo queue, and you can confirm it now. It is WarningThump in the mid lane, Ornn or DeStRoYNuBs up in the top side.
Yeah.
But sshoirrao has kind of been, honestly, a bit of a weak spot for Rochedale in every game I've seen him. I haven't really seen him perform particularly well, and on this Mordekaiser, a champion that enables lane dominance and strength. You know, he's been on a lot of champions that aren't particularly lane dominant. He's been put on the Ornn, put on the Riven into an Ornn. I've seen him on a Malphite. He just hasn't really had these strong, powerful matchups, and honestly, he's been pretty dominated recently up in that top side, or whenever I've seen him play. And so hopefully he's got his opportunity to be on a champ that's a little bit more aggressive, is able to really control a lane, and you know, as a player who is supposed to be quite influential to his team up in that top side, if he can really get ahead in that role and you know, kind of suppress Ornn or DeStRoYNuBs here, you could definitely see a big difference up in this game, and potentially change it around. And you know, if he gets ahead in this lane, Rochedale have a good chance of winning it, because an oppressive Mordekaiser is, you know, as we saw last week, a free solo carry.
Yeah, absolutely. Like one more, like even Mordekaisers who don't do particularly well are still good for being able to pull out like the Fed carry into like the Shadow Realm, or maybe like be engaged for their side. So like ability wise, he's really good, and actually this could be pretty bad for SukiSukiLOL. He may get taken out. I think DeStRoYNuBs may be able to win this if he plays it just right. But it looks like
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't have HeroicFeet around, but Mordekaiser had that big wave there as well. DoomGoat, wow, getting poked out heavily here by the Vayne. This Vayne Jhin matchup once again. We saw it go one way.
Oh, there's the Fiddlesticks. Here he comes to help finish off dynamic Alfred. TNS getting really low. Chunks out. SukiSukiLOL gets a real nice bubble drop there as well, which will unfortunately get him the kill.
Yeah,
but you know what?
The ebb and flow that bounced into the Lu to take her out there. And man, that was such a good gank. And this kind of sucks here if you're Rochedale. You've got the Twitch jungle. That's, you know, the objective of that pick is to be that early game carry that just destroys everybody at the beginning of the game. And for the Fiddlesticks to get the first gank off and to be the first effective jungler in this matchup.
My goodness. Ornn DeStRoYNuBs outplaying SukiSukiLOL here. Really well played by the Akali there. That was very aware of her limits.
And that's devastating again for Rochedale. 3-0 straight away after that first game. You know, you can see your mental start to get impacted. DeStRoYNuBs has stayed around, but again, just sshoirrao can't take him out. Has used that TP, didn't get the advantage, and didn't get the good buys either. Akali's going to get to go back now. TP back to lane and be so much stronger. Potentially could even go to the mid lane here and instigate a lane swap, maybe.
That would be interesting.
I actually kind of think that's probably the way to go, because I think Akali is now strong enough that she can start to contest the Orianna, especially it's around that level 6, since Orianna dominates early in the game. And I really think Rochedale will need to make sure they're controlling these dragons, because that was one of the big reasons why Hillbrook got so far ahead. They were able to contest the Soul and get Ocean Soul at 22 minutes. Here we go, Heroic down in the bot lane. They could look for something here on these two Hillbrook bot laners.
He's just waiting for... Oh, there he is there. He steps up a little bit. DoomGoat. Getting chunked out, he may get a little bit more chunky. But, HeroicFeet just wasting a little bit of time. Only has a couple camps up to clear, so nothing too major. But I wouldn't mind to see him opt to get that first good old Ocean Dragon.
I'm actually really worried for Rochedale, because
so am I.
HeroicFeet opting for this Twitch. Twitch needs to get ahead early on if he's going to survive. And in the jungle, it's a very low econ position where you're unable to get a lot of gold early on and able to be quite effective. And the fact that he is now behind it, and the fact that Ryan Overpower on this Fiddle, who is famously known as not being nearly able to gank until the level 6, has no ability to kind of get into the game. It's just so devastating for HeroicFeet, because he needs to get ahead on Twitch. He's not going to get enough gold to scale if he's not getting these kills. And the fact that he's army to impact the match, and his laners aren't winning these matchups either. I mean, there's a big lead here for Madflyer in the mid lane, but again, on the Orianna, who he's off role, not comfortable in playing, I don't know if it's enough. And against the Shen's not really going to worry if he's too far behind. The Mordekaiser is going to head down in the bot lane. They've gone down to that gank, and again for Rochedale, it's getting worrying already early on in the game. The last game, 5 minutes is when it started going wrong, and they really need to start turning around. HeroicFeet needs to make some plays and start getting fed on this Twitch.
Yeah, he's looking to try to maybe do something. He's getting really aggressive onto this bot lane. He is definitely hungry for some kills, but will he be able to get them is another question. Still, first dragon hasn't gone down, 7 minutes in. I'd definitely be looking at that if I was HeroicFeet or Ryan Overpower. Wait, WarningThump going in right here. Look at this. He's got Ryan Overpower to help him out. They may walk down towards Dragon. I'm kind of sitting here shocked right now.
Yeah, it's just such a big difference between these two sides that Hillbrook, again, just so far ahead, kind of just through, I don't really know what, but they're only 1,000 gold ahead, but the ganks from Ryan Overpower here, the one gank down on the bot side has really turned this game into something where Rochedale are under pressure to make a play, and they're just kind of not, that they need to make something happen, because otherwise they're just going to lose to the scaling and this team fight comp that Hillbrook have put together.
Yeah, certainly. And now, on top of constantly, on top of Hillbrook having, obviously, the 3 kills on their side, their CS discrepancies are actually pretty close. Like, most of the difference in gold is that kill gold. Like, they've got those roams out, they've got everyone kind of helping each other out, and they're still pretty much dead on even besides that kill gold.
Yeah, they're effectively at exactly the same level here. The kill gold is, that difference, and again, onto the Jhin makes it so much more difficult. Look at the zoning here from DoomGoat, forcing Dynamic Alfred and TNS all the way back in the lane, pushing so far up. Just able to control this wave. I think SukiSukiLOL here on the Nami has done very well in controlling lane. Every time I've seen them down here, she's been in the right position, pressuring the Vayne off her wave, and actually been very impactful on that more Enchanter style support. And again, in this mid lane, Orianna winning the farm battle, but I think this Akali is going to do a lot when she gets involved in the game.
Oh my.
Big trade there, level 6 available.
Yeah, Curtain Call is up now, so is the tidal wave. Twitch, though, HeroicFeet is making his way down bot. We may get to see a bit of a 3v2 come out in a moment.
Yeah, the Twitch here, maybe looking towards this dragon. As the first dragon of the game, looks like it will go down to Hillbrook once again. Looks like Rochedale are none the wiser to it in the game.
You can see another big difference is there are wards all over the map to Hillbrook. The entire river is lit up with blue little wards. There's 3 control wards on the map for Hillbrook versus 0 for Rochedale. And having a lot of vision is so important in a team game because it allows you to communicate. It allows you to know where the other team is. But just there's no wards on the map here from Hillbrook, and without having any ward control or vision control, they can't make decisions, they can't make plays, and Ryan Overpower just keeps getting spotted out every single time he goes for a gank.
Yeah, there's unfortunately
Sorry,
not much
HeroicFeet, not Ryan Overpower.
Yeah, no, I got you, buddy. Don't worry about that. I think we all kind of understand DoomGoat here. He's getting confident. He wants to step up, wants to get like, you know, in their faces, which seems so strange, like to me as like a non-AD carry player. But he's got that confidence. He's got the Nami to help him up, the ebb and flow, the tidal wave, the bubble. I don't know if they'd be able to take him out.
Yeah, I don't think they could do much here. Rochedale, very, you know, in a bit of the same predicament again. Hillbrook kind of just seem to be making very small leads by just kind of playing better almost, but not like aggressively pushing it. Here we go, WarningThump in the mid lane, but just uses the taunt dash to get away. It's so slippery here, Hillbrook, and I think that's what they realize in this game. You know, when you go for that Twitch jungle, the win condition is the Twitch. It's kind of like a funnel master. If you don't die to the E, you don't die to the Twitch. You're not going to lose the game, and I think they're just playing with that in mind, that they are playing with the mindfulness of just don't ever get ganked. Don't ever die to a gank and we win, which is exactly what they have to do. They just don't die to the Twitch and they get.
Ooh, nice flash taunt by the Shen, and nice, but actually a really nice command shockwave coming out of Madflyer. He may be uncomfortable, but that is uncomfortable as he's forced to flash up and away. Here is Twitch. Twitch is here to help him out. HeroicFeet jumps straight in, trying to take down Ryan Overpower. Unfortunately, the poison will not be enough, and that just ends with a whole bunch of sums being blown.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good play there from Hillbrook. The fear from the Fiddle, forcing the Orianna actually back into tower, and very effective there from Ryan Overpower. Twitch, though, was still around, so had to be a little bit careful. Couldn't keep pushing for that play, but Orianna very low. Both sums gone means I'm going to expect Ryan Overpower to come back to mid lane within the next minute and a half, and I think Madflyer could be going down very soon.
Certainly, and once again, gold lead still only at that 900 to 1,000 gold range. So,
yeah, and I think that's largely actually because of the mid lane matchup. You can see there's a very large CS lead on Madflyer, but given the fact that it's a Shen into an Orianna, there's really not much the Shen can do in that mid lane. You know, I mean, Shen is one of the best losing lane champions, as in does the best at when he's losing lane. So, you know, not particularly dire for Hillbrook, but that is kind of what's keeping this gold relatively in balance. And I would hate to see what would happen if Madflyer goes down and a proper side laner starts to get ahead and WarningThump really picks up a bit of gold. I think it could be quite disastrous.
Well, you may have your wish may end up being granted in a second. It looks like Madflyer actually manages to get away. Gets that nice movement speed from, I believe, the command dissonance. So this could be a fight between the two bot laners. Look how low dynamic Alfred is as the curtain call is dropped. However, we're sent up into the top lane where the Mordekaiser has pulled this guy up into the Shadow Realm. Now look how low they are. That big shield of it is on Morg. Stand United comes out onto the Akali. DeStRoYNuBs gets a little bit of help from WarningThump and tries to buy some time for his top laner. And WarningThump will secure that kill onto sshoirrao.
Yeah, and while that was happening, the Vayne did go down on the bot side too, but Orianna no sums, but HeroicFeet is around to keep his Orianna alive.
That's going to be really nice. That's 2 more kills over towards Hillbrook. A little surprised they didn't opt towards like maybe the dragon at that point. Actually, no, it wasn't even up. The Herald would have been an idea, but I suppose
Hillbrook
not.
up on the top side lost it, right? They won the bot side, but again, weren't unable to make anything happen. We're really pushing a little bit aggressively there on DoomGoat, potentially. Could get punished, but we'll be fine here. Again, Hillbrook 5-0, very far ahead of Rochedale's Ryan Overpower, comes in from the game.
There should be a little bit of threat pressure applied and the baby back off his tower. Doesn't quite want to lose it so soon. This is unfortunate for Dynamic Alfred. Unfortunately, the Deadly Flourish for Jhin misses. Maybe needs a little bit extra, maybe one more hit to come out. But those silver bolts will expunge Jhin from this world for now.
Yeah, the first kill over to Rochedale and onto the Vayne 2, the key carry they kind of need to get fed and carry this game. Of course, Jhin does lose that 1v1, just the consistent DPS beats the burst. Jhin unable to take him down. Both of these 80 carries going for exhaust, interestingly enough. It's probably one of the only series where I haven't seen heal on an 80 carry in either game. A little bit different, but I think this Vayne is going to be where Rochedale need to play around, given the fact that HeroicFeet's not going to get rolling on the Twitch. Although he's very comfortable on it. He's still, you know, down in farm, and Ryan Overpower has been doing more ganks. So I'm unsure kind of how that's occurred, how he's so far down in farm. But again, Iron of the DeStRoYNuBs here looking to fight sshoirrao.
Yeah, I don't know if Iron of the DeStRoYNuBs is going to end up winning this one. He's going to get really close. Mordekaiser trying to obliterate what's left of his health bar. He's got a big shield ready to maybe heal up, but I just think the perfect executioner will be enough to finish him off. And down he goes to the blades. Oh, actually. Oh, securing the second dragon at the same time, but then becomes a big title as Ryan Overpower comes in, trying to chase down HeroicFeet, gets one more quick kill. Madflyer coming down from that mid lane to try to force him to back off the Vayne. So it looks like the Lulu, they will be able to get away for now.
Yeah, and while they got that Ocean Dragon, Jhin was still in the bot side getting pressure onto the tower. Got 2 more plates, I believe. 1 plate left on that bot lane tower. So a lot of gold in the Jin's pocket. Oh, there you guys. You see the first blood tower goes down. Solo gold onto DoomGoat. And of course, 2 dragons already means Hillbrook are in prime position for another early soul, which is going to be the Mountain Dragon in this game.
Oh, well, this is unfortunate for a certain someone named RNL DeStRoYNuBs, as I think he's about to get taken out by a Mordekaiser flashing away. I don't think he has anything to get away with, though. Maybe he'll try to use the blast cone to get out. Maybe Mordekaiser can land a prediction. Unfortunately, no. Well, yes, he can, but it's not the right spot.
Man, RNL DeStRoYNuBs sneaking out with a sliver of health should not have gotten away there, and that's just the story of this series. sshoirrao here up on the top side has been unable to really get anything going, and a beautiful escape there from RNL DeStRoYNuBs. Hillbrook 7-1, 2 dragons, 4,000 gold at 15 minutes. It's looking like a very similar story to game 1, where, you know, again, it's not a very stompy stomp. They're very far ahead and they're dominating Rochedale, but they're just not kind of playing that aggressive style, and they're not, you know, hard winning, I guess, is the thing that the difference is.
Yeah, they're playing for they're playing like they're only going for things with like no risk. Like there's no acceptable risk for this Hillbrook side is how they're playing, right?
Yeah, exactly. They just they can't really take anything to kind of level up with Rochedale. I'm so sorry, for Rochedale to level up with Hillbrook. There's nothing they can do, and again, the plays that Hillbrook are making is oh,
come on, Shockwave is amazing. Come on, Protect as well. However, now HeroicFeet is in trouble. He's trying to chase him down with a Spiritual Refuge Battle. Deadly Forest lands. Down goes DoomGoat. Shen taunt lands, and Shen, WarningThump, will take that kill. So from 7-1, Toes goes to 9-2.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot more of an uncharacteristic play there from Hillbrook. It was aggressive. It was taking what they need to do. They got the 2-for-1, which is overall a very positive play for them. And I want to see more of that for the longer this game goes on. I want them to be a lot more aggressive. I want them to take those risks, because I think that's, you know, the way they're going to learn is I think, you know, they've got the basics of the game down as a team. I think they're playing very well. And although this is the last game, we've still got another tournament coming up next term for all these school kids. So, you know, there will be more action from these schools and potential, maybe not to play for, you know, the chance to go to nationals. So this is obviously the reward of winning this tournament. But again, the honor of saying, you know, we could have been the best team in the state. And again, RNL DeStRoYNuBs versus sshoirrao here, see if he can get out.
I wonder if he's going to get out, or maybe he'll be able to get the kill here. Perfect execution is a bit of a stand. United comes out. There's going to be a nice shadow dash there. They're going to take down sshoirrao, and I think he's going to go down in one more hit, but here comes Twitch. Can HeroicFeet take this out? The Spiritual Refuge will keep Akali alive for a little bit, but the poison damage will finish her off. But one more blob from that Vorpal Blade on Shen will secure that kill. Still, 1-2.
Yeah, and I like seeing it too. These are aggressive plays from Hillbrook. This is what I wanted to see in game 1, when they got to this same stage where they were ahead, but they weren't pushing their lead. And now you can see they've got this very small lead and they're pushing it. They're punishing Rochedale for being a little bit far ahead, going for the dive into the 2v2 onto the Twitch and being able to come up with the kills. Sure, they're going to the Shen, which probably isn't, you know, you'd rather those kills onto the Akali, but it's good to see them playing these aggressive plays and another play from Ryan Overpower.
Yeah, Ryan Overpower is definitely proving that his Fiddlesticks is overpowered.
Yeah,
so,
Fiddlesticks, very strong champion and just destroying Madflyer in that mid lane. Looks like he's going for a Zhonya second, which is interesting given the fact that the damage is probably stacked in the AP. I think this Akali is the scariest champion with that Hextech Gunblade completed. I think probably the strongest one-item power spike in the game. And
that was actually really good. He actually meant to go to the bouncing grenade because of that. But DoomGoat just does so much damage. Deadly Flurry are probably not able to root this Vayne down. He's going to keep chasing. Tumble flashes in. And now they're on top of Shen. But look at this. RNL DeStRoYNuBs come in to try to help out. The Wild Growth is still active, waiting for it to come down. They need to chase him down, but they can't lose. They can't give any gold over to this Vayne. What's going to happen here? Here comes a little bit of help. There's Ryan Overpower to join in Shadow Assault. And another kill goes over to Ryan Overpower here.
Again, Hillbrook playing these aggressive plays. 2 for 3 again, a 1-kill deficit. These are the kind of things they weren't doing in the first game, and I think overall it's paying off. They're getting bigger leads now. They're able to take down more turrets, and I'm liking this more aggressive style from Hillbrook out in game 2.
Yeah, they've certainly learned from their mistakes. Maybe they'll listen to the stream and taking in the advice that we gave them in like the post-game, pre-game Champions League, and maybe even like going through part of this game. So hopefully they're taking it on board, and that's why. Or maybe they're just showing us their true colors.
I mean, this is 3 minutes in front. So I don't know if they could listen to stream it and take advice. Maybe they can listen.
True, maybe after the game.
Maybe after the game they're looking for it.
Yeah, again, very good from Hillbrook to start pushing their lead. TNS looks like he's going to get caught out here.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. He's just too far up on his own, not employing the buddy system replays. But you know who is employing the buddy system right now? It is sshoirrao and HeroicFeet.
Oh my god.
Oh, that is not good. HeroicFeet, unfortunately, buddy system, command shockwave, double pull back in. Arnold, unfortunately, can't really do anything to get away. However, Mordekaiser will end up falling down as well. Now, we see this. Madflyer is just trying to take down WarningThump, but there's nothing that can stop him. Another dragon over to Hillbrook, so...
Where the buddy system doesn't work when you got a buddy who can press R and join from anywhere on the map with a massive shield. The Shen, they're showing why that Stand United is so impactful and so strong. And again, Hillbrook going for these aggressive plays. Sure, they traded 1 for 2, but they're still taking positive plays. They're getting more kills than their opponent, getting more gold, getting him off the map. And you can see that by taking a tier 2 tower before 25 minutes. That's 10 minutes before they did it in that first game, but the second they did take that objective, they won the rest of the game. Baron available now, but the difference is this game without the Vayne, they don't have such a fast Baron.
Well, looking at this right now, this could be bad replays. Curtain Call coming up, one-shot misses, forcing out the Wild Growth. Will they be able to take down HeroicFeet? They're all blocking for him at the moment, but that is a key ultimate down the Wild Growth. Not up in this next team fight, potentially.
Yeah, the next team fight, I think, it's still probably 4 minutes away. I think the next big fight will be around this Mountain Dragon. If there's no, a tower push here from Hillbrook, I wouldn't expect them to go for a play. Even though they have been a little bit more aggressive, they've still been quite controlled with their aggression. But I think the next big fight is going to be around this Mountain Soul. Rochedale could potentially actually make a stand. Their comp is still viable. I think HeroicFeet is a little bit weak. And I think he should have been, much stronger. You'd expect him to be a little bit stronger comparatively. Oh no.
Well, that's it. That's it for HeroicFeet. Oh no, DeStRoYNuBs, just doing the typical stuff. And not only is it the end of HeroicFeet, it's also the end of TNS.
Oh, that's really bad too. Them getting picked off straight away. Obviously went to clear that vision out, but got caught out. Hillbrook punishing them very effectively, and Hillbrook looking much better this game than in the first game. I mean, a little bit less, and probably more dominant just because of the aggression, and maybe not as big of a difference between the two sides. But I like this more aggressive playstyle they're bringing to us this game, and I'm very scared if I'm Rochedale. Maybe they could beat them faster than they did the last game, but again, Rochedale have really got to make something happen. They're 7k gold down, but if they lose this game, of course, that's them out of the tournament. And in 4th place, which is still quite respectable. 4 out of, I think, the 52 or 50 entrants we had in this tournament is still quite a respectable side. But when you get so close, it feels so far away when you fall down to that final hurdle.
Yeah, certainly. And you know what? I've got to say I agree with you in the whole thing that I like how Hillbrook is playing really well in this. Because I know they're playing a lot more aggressive, and that is good because being aggressive is enabling them to get so much more gold. Even if the gold difference is not too much more, they're getting those power spikes earlier, and I think sshoirrao is... No, they're still a little bit too scared to pull the trigger entirely.
3v3 down here on this bot lane, tier 2 tower. Jhin and Nami are roaming up. The Vayne, definitely out of position, could look for a team fight here in a very aggressive play by Hillbrook. I think they win the 5v3, and I really hope they go for it.
So do I. Ryan Overpower has the Fiddlesticks ultimate available. So he could jump in with it from across a wall and be a real sudden addition to his team. We'll have to see where he positions. Look at Ryan Overpower on the map. He's not making use of that fiddle mobility where what is he thinking, mate?
I mean, I think he's just trying to look for an opportunity. There was a good ward placed there by Rochedale to spot out a potential fiddle ultimate over the wall, but it's still a 5v4, and looks like they are just going to back off with that wave. Successful defense there from Rochedale, but again, a successful defense just means they got a bit of extra gold, and again, so much control of this map is on Hillbrook's side, and I think bringing it down all the way back to the early game is this vision. This is they're standing on this ward.
I love it. I love it. Do they not know they're on a ward right now? Okay, now they've realized.
Yeah, they've taken it out. Oh, big chunk of damage there. But Nami walking away from that quite aptly. Again, it looks like they're just trying to take out this bot lane tier 2 and maybe looking towards this Baron if they win a big fight.
Certainly, and not only that, the Mountain Soul is up in 1 minute from now. So Definitely things are going to look a little bit hectic in the next couple of seconds. Maybe HeroicFeet will try to take out Jhin. Maybe take down DoomGoat. Yes, he will. He comes up. Perfect execution is up from Akali. Will she jump in? No, but here comes a curtain call from Jhin. And we will see if a curtain call lands on anybody with low enough health to kill. There's a whole chunk of damage onto sshoirrao, though. Shen, he's on his way up. This is going to be a 4v5, 5v5.
If Fiddle lands
Command Chakra was amazing. Look at this. Down goes DoomGoat, but here comes Fiddle from the back line. Trying to take down the carries. 2 kills going over the WarningThump. And this is bad. Akali, look how low Ryan overpower is. But no, look at this dynamic alpha sitting in that backline trying to chunk and heal up. Shen doing the best that he can, though. Takes down Madflyer. No, somehow he's alive. Look at this. Oh my goodness, how is Nami alive? How is this Vayne alive? How are they both alive? This is just insane. Look at this. Lulu may go down to minions at this rate. SukiSukiLOL gets that kill. The only one left standing for his side is Madflyer. And it is on a sliver. What just happened?
That was such a great team fight from both sides. It was very, very messy. Sorry, great probably isn't the word. Great spectating. Execution-wise, all over the shop. They kind of, I think it was a bit unlucky there for Hillbrook. I think they went for the engaged call just as Hillbrook did the same thing, and so Rochedale moved a little bit further forward than what you would have expected. The Fiddle ultimate didn't really do much, only hit 1 or 2 members, and Akali wasn't unable to really dive onto the backline, but they will still grab this Mountain Soul as they were able to win that fight quite comprehensively. Unlucky not to get an ace there. Madflyer barely staying alive, and great work from Dynamic Alfred as well to kite out for as long as possible. But WarningThump was so tanky at the end of that fight that it was really hard to actually take him down. However, Hillbrook now 24 kills to 8 have got the Mountain Soul again. 25 minutes into the game, very, very early soul. Not as first as the first game, but man, very, very difficult for Rochedale to really match what Hillbrook are doing. And I think they're a little bit too far behind. And they need another couple fights like that where instead of being the ones running with low health, they need to be the ones chasing them up. I think, as I said, that the lack of tankiness on the Rochedale side is probably their key weakness in these team fights. sshoirrao is really the only frontline force they have. And I think, something like a more tanky support or even HeroicFeet in the jungle playing something a bit differently. But again, that would have led to champ pool constraints and sshoirrao getting poked out already.
Old Conical coming out. But look at this, Jhin is kind of stuck in it. Look at this. Look at the Ori. She's sitting right there. Oh, wait, reveals herself complete. I think she's just killed herself. A Shen will Shadow Dash on top of her, tied away from Nami. Deadly Flurry from Jhin unfortunately misses, but I think that Shen will be able to get the kill himself. Forced to drop into a Zhonya's, and the WarningThump will secure that. I don't understand what that was by Madflyer. I think he just saw, I can land a multi-man R, press R, die.
Yeah, but with Ori with no team means she hasn't got that consistent DPS, hasn't got that availability to keep going. It looks like Baron is going to be the next objective here for Hillbrook. 25 kills to 8 overall in the scoreline, and yeah, very, very dominant Baron. I don't think Rochedale can contest with the Orianna down the Shockwave, probably their main team for that tool, other than the Spray and Pray. So I think this Baron will go over quite quickly to Hillbrook, and I mean, with this Baron on their side, Hillbrook are going to be pushing it down on the base, and I think Rochedale are going to be hard-pressed to kind of come back into this game.
Yeah, if I was Hillbrook here, I'd reset, buy my items. They're all probably sitting on at least like 1,500 gold at this point, at least.
Yeah, probably.
Get those final items and just break the base.
Yeah, Jhin only pick up a stopwatch, so not a lot of gold. I mean, I kind of forget that the Baron actually gives you 300 gold when you take it down. So it's basically a kill for everyone on your team, 1,200 gold total just for killing it. So such a strong objective gold-wise. Dragons only give you 100 to the person that takes it down, but Baron, again, 1,200 gold total for taking down that big purple worm. A very, very strong objective in terms of swinging a game, and given the fact that the buff is so powerful too in game ending, that Baron's almost a little bit overpowered when you actually think about it.
I love how you describe Baron as a big purple worm, because that just turned Baron from a big monstrous image in my mind to a small little cartoon purple worm.
Well, he's a silly worm. He doesn't do a lot of damage. He used to be scary when Baron used to be able to kill you, but Baron does so little damage these days. He's just a big little silly purple worm.
I love it. I love this. You've now just changed my opinion of Baron entirely. I'm no longer scared of Baron anymore. It's no longer this big scary thing that it used to be. Now it's just.
Yeah, I remember back in season 7. If you even attempted Baron without 4 people, it was like, he's gonna kill us all. And even when you used to do Baron with 5 members and the entire enemy team was aced, if the AD carry tanked it for 3 seconds, he was like, God, I'm gonna die. you know? But now it's
Yeah.
like, oh, 80 carry can front line. Yeah, no worries. It's a Baron. He's not doing anything to me.
You got a
You know?
Vamp Scepter? That's enough lifesteal.
Yeah, that's enough. I can solo Baron now. As you see, Hillbrook, interestingly, very split up. I assumed him to group and force a big meeting here from Rochedale. Again, macro, I mean, Akali on the sideline makes sense, and of course Shen too, but not as close together as you would expect. TP coming in from, that's the Akali, are going to be trying pressing onto this team.
Holding on to Stan United because we can already see Vayne and Lulu preparing to back. They may be able to just keep pushing this down. Like, I don't see a reason for them to wait. They've got the 5v5 the instant they want to fight it.
But I think the one thing that lacks from Hillbrook's top is a clear engage. They need to make sure that the Fiddlesticks can land a multi-man ultimate, but there's no real setup to ensure Fiddlesticks lands a really good pick. The wave is more follow-up. Tidal wave from the Nami is a little more follow-up. It's not particularly setup ability. I think something like a Galio, maybe if it was played in the mid lane, could just be the kind of engage you need. But HeroicFeet trying to make something happen.
Certainly. Twitch gets caught out by the bubble. Akali flashes. Shen flashing and solo. Heroic gets caught by the wild grip. We'll keep him up for now. But here comes Fiddlesticks. Gets a nice channel in onto 3 members of the enemy team following them right over the power. Gets a quick kill. Locks it up so much. Unfortunately, he will go down. But now Madflyer is trying to do the best he can. Look at dynamic Alfred. He is definitely playing quite dynamically, stepping forward, getting all this gold. And I think that he may be able to turn this fight around on his own. Unfortunately, couldn't call, unfortunately, not quite enough. Madflyer, once again, the only one to escape on his team with the tiniest of health bars. But look at this. Akali has that perfect executioner. There's no way he gets away now unless he walks back onto the fountain. Come on, Orianna DeStRoYNuBs. Step up, jump on him, end the game. But no, I think he'll be breaking what's left of their base in just a second. Hopping on him anyway. Doesn't even need him to be low health. And down he goes. And I think with that, Hillbrook may take the win.
Yeah, Rochedale, you have to make their final stand. Just the Nexus available. Baron has expired, but so strong. Orianna just was level 17. You see her just killing Lulu on her fountain steps. There's nothing you can really do. The Nexus goes down. Hillbrook take this series 2-0 and are the third best team in the entirety of Queensland.
Congratulations to Hillbrook there. They take 2-0 sweep and definitely show, you know what, we may have not won, we may have not made finals, but we were ready. We were ready to go into those final games.
Yeah, Hillbrook looked really, really good, actually. I mean, the one thing I will say is that, they could have pushed their leads a little bit further in that first game. They played a little bit better the second game, but again, I think there was a little bit of tilt coming into Rochedale's mind. When you're that far behind in your second game, you go, yeah, look, we can't beat them. But very well played for both the sides here. Hillbrook played very well. Rochdale very well as well. I mean, top 4 in, out of 50 teams is still a very, very good achievement. They made it very far into this tournament to the final week. And I'm super hyped for tomorrow's matchup. McGregor dominated throughout the regular season. Indrapilli were the ones that took down Hillbrook, who could, with this third-place match, if Indrapilli win, make their claim against McGregor. And that'd be a very interesting show match. I'd love to see those two sides go head-to-head if, in fact, Indrapilli are your winners of the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship. But again, congratulations to every school involved, but especially these two here for making it all the way to our third-place match. But tomorrow, Tuesday, 4 p.m., we should be live right here on UQ Esports, Twitch TV/UQ Esports, to present to you the grand final of the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship. Indrapilli State High School up against McGregor is going to be quite an intense game. So very, very, very excited for that tomorrow. So make sure you guys are, sticking around and come tune into that broadcast. We'll be live in studio for the final game of the high school league.
I know I'll be watching, so make sure you guys watch too.
And of course, before we go again today, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you to Legion by Lenovo for sponsoring the broadcast and helping us out with the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship. Thank you to everyone watching, and congratulations to Hillbrook, the third best team in all of Queensland. My name is Mitch Replays Anderson. I was joined by Josh Carnariano, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.